Like little kids with a new toy, we were very excited to use our newly restored marine railway. The Maritime Preservation Trust flagship, Athena, would be the first up. This would be a very busy haul out. There were a lot of things that we needed to do. New coatings had to be reapplied all the way around, topsides, boot top, and bottom. The whole bottom had to be thoroughly sanded, especially around the waterline. When we did that, we found that one of the hood ends on the port side that had been replaced sometime in the boat's life wasn't fitted correctly to the back rabbet. It was cracked and leaking. On the starboard side, one of the planks was soft. This was from years of the anchor beating it up. We have developed techniques over the years that have allowed us to do some of these repairs without replacing the whole plank. By using a thicker plank and shaping it in, and then scarfing the butt joint, the plank can be fit in with no strain on it. The 5200 expansion groove that runs around the planking glues the planking together and allows for expansion and contraction, and is much better than the traditional caulking cotton. During the 1995 rebuild at Marina Shipyard in Long Beach, Athena was one of the first boats that we reefed all of the cotton out of the seams and completely filled them with 5200. Athena has never leaked ever since. By gluing the planks together with the urethane caulking, instead of caulking them apart with cotton, the boat is structurally more sound. Here, Reuben, let me give you a hand screwing that up. I don't want you to have to take the blame for screwing that up all by yourself. Of course, we do these different projects simultaneously. While Reuben was fitting the planking, I was busy staining and recoating the transom so that it was ready for the lettering lady. Our intern, Evan Gonzalez, was doing the sanding and the paint prep and helping me overhaul the running gear. The varnish on the transom was 30 years old. It hadn't been wooded since it was installed. The varnish had blistered in several places, and we wanted to change the hailing port. Athena was back home, where she was built in 1929, right here at the Stevens Brothers Boat Building Facility in Stockton, California. One of the main things we do here at the Maritime Preservation Trust is to hire the local artisans. If they are willing, we record their craft and skill so that it can be shared with others. Many of these trade skills and crafts are in danger of being lost. Sure, we can use vinyl letters, but it really isn't the same. It's the human touch that makes the difference.
I've done that. I've learned that the old-fashioned way is really the tried and true way, as we say. Okay, now I'm going to go across this way, and actually I'm going to go like this. Will be my line where the center of that spin is, with a tiny bit of overlap on each circle. This is the funnest work there is. Slow, but fun.
Here again, it had been 30 years since we had overhauled the running gear. This is way too long, by the way. It should be overhauled about every 10 or 12 years. More often if the boat is in heavy use. All the rubber parts, the cutlass bearings, and the pedros, which is the piece of hose between the stern tube and the stuffing box, just deteriorate over time. The other reason to pull the shafts and overhaul the running gear in a timely fashion is that calcium deposits build up on the shafts and all the metal parts. This makes it more difficult to pull the shafts. Once the shafts were pulled, it was quite a chore scraping and sanding all the calcium deposits off. Amazingly enough, the cutlass bearings looked good from the outside, but they weren't. The rubber was rock hard and galled. Luckily, there was no damage to the shaft. We will never wait this long again to service the cutlass bearings. Over 50 years in the marine repair and maintenance industry has taught me that the best way to remove cutlass bearings is to slice them in two. You really don't want to beat on the strut at all. This can take it out of alignment, and you don't want to heat it up. This can anneal the casting and distort the hole. Once the cutlass bearing is removed, we carefully sand the calcium deposits off with a drum sander until the new cutlass bearing slides right in. When I installed the cutlass bearing at the stern tube in 1996, Bud Treader, an old friend of mine that owned the boatyard, said don't cut the extension on the cutlass bearing off, Wayne. We used that to get the cutlass bearing out. So 30 years later, I was able to put a pipe wrench on the extended part of the cutlass bearing, give it a twist, and pull the whole cutlass bearing, shaft and all, out of the boat. That little trick and piece of knowledge saved me hours and a lot of hard work. So we'll leave this new cutlass bearing extended and pass the knowledge on to you. We always use a cutlass bearing with a brass housing, and we never use any lubricants or never seize. The cutlass bearing should slide right in there and lock with the set screws. It's important when reinstalling the shaft to not use any lubricants. These can affect the rubber in the cutlass bearings. You can use water, if anything, to lubricate the shaft during installation. We use linear polyurethane on the boot top. We use oil base, primers, and enamel on the top sides. All the coatings are applied with rollers and brushes. The props were put on and the rudders were reinstalled. We repacked the prop and rudder shafts, installed new zincs, and Athena was ready to be launched. It was only 5 weeks from start to finish. Thanks to all the help we had from the local businesses here in Stockton and our new facility here at 5 Star Marina, this was one of the most efficient and cost-effective haul-outs that we have ever done with Athena. The Maritime Preservation Center is specific to servicing these vintage watercraft. It is also a classroom where the trade skills of the maritime professions can be practiced and shared. The trustees and patrons of our maritime heritage now have a place to go.